Hello, hello, hello. This is Els coming to you from Beamish Crafty Corner with part 4 of the Gatsby Journal. So, we have come to that point of this event where we will be, adding stuff to it. So, let's do a quick review of what we have, what we've done. We've covered this in Italian newspaper, it's the wrapping paper. Then I went ahead and Mod Podged that. On the inside, I did an acrylic water wash just to give it some color and kind of an old scruffed up look. I went ahead and decoupaged some images, both front and back, and covered these with the Duraclear Soft Touch varnish so that it has that velvet feel to it. We left the first page open. I've added 2 signatures into the book. The first signature has had all of its little decor items begun to be placed into it, all of its little pockets and things. I may add more pockets as I go. There's still a couple of pieces like this that I'm not exactly sure what I'm going to be doing with, so we're going to be addressing some of those issues. The second part is kind of post-prohibition and deals more with, like, the Great Depression and things like that. So I have all of that in here. I have some pockets and things in here that still need to be dressed up, and some pages that are completely blank that just need a little love. The writing paper, I left that blank on purpose. It's intentional. The feel I wanted for this was basically that it felt as if it was, you were looking at journaling in somebody's old scrapbook. So I've got, just general stuff in here. I have still to do all my lace edge and some of the finer detailing in here. So that's what we're going to be tackling today, and getting that stuff taken care of and getting it put into the book. And hopefully the next part of this will just be doing the centerpiece that we're going to be putting in, and then we can do the flip through. So most of this video is going to be fast forward as I try to get all of the lace and trims put on. Nothing on the front page. We're going to start on the second full page, and that's where we're going to begin kind of dressing this book out. Okay? So I'm going to get started on this, and then I will be back to show you kind of my progress and how we're going, and show you some different various pieces that I'm going to be putting in. I do have some of the Tim Holtz rub-ons that are the gilded. I'm using the gold in this because it just goes with the cover. I have some transparent borders that are see-through. I have some ribbons and things. I have all of these little sayings and phrases that were popular words in the 1920 terms of the day. So we have all of those. I guess you'd call them flapper speak. We have a bunch of these that I've gone through and inked. I've got some pieces of trims here that I'm going to be using. I have some jewel pieces and some brads that I may be working in. And then I have some other pieces of trim and lace over here, as well as some washi tape that I'm starting to put in, and I have some feathers and things. So I'm going to get started getting this done, and I will be back in just a few minutes after I get a couple of pages under my belt, and we'll talk about them, okay? I am done pretty much dressing up the first signature. Let's take a look at where we are so far. So far, we have added this gold and black trim here to this writing page. And we've put some appliques in on a few of the other pages. Up in here, we've started adding in the word phrases from the 20s and adding in some details and things. I'm probably going to be doing some stamping in here as well. So we've added in a couple of different details. I decided to just put a nice side pocket in here for this one, just because I thought this color kind of blended with this and it worked together, so we did that. And then I turned this into a pocket, a couple of pieces in, and I started working with some of the gold leafing and a few more of the terms and things, and just kind of working our way through little gold details here and there. And put a corner in here, added some washi tape down the center. Just any year in the 1920s. I picked 1923. It just happened to be the one that my hand landed on it. It was the easiest one because the 2 and the 3 were attached. What do you want from me? And then I just put an applique in here. I added some details here. I'm going to be putting something here on the bottom, so this is going away because I've decided I'm going to put a pocket in here. So let me get rid of this. Come on. There we go. So I'm going to be adding a pocket here. I went ahead and put this onto some cardstock and popped it up off the page to give it some dimension. And then I made a little pocket over here with a gold detail and some little details at the top. And just put a couple of journal cards in. And then I got a little feather over here with a piece of applique. And just a few more pieces here and there. A little knit piece over here. Some washi tape on both of these pages. Things all caught together. Alright, then we have our little flipper here. And I put another pocket in here. This is actually a brad. I just took it off the brad pieces and put it on a dimensional and just added a little piece of applique to it. Put in a pocket, another gold detail here. And then I just added a pocket here with a couple of cards. I've got another pocket down here with some more card in it. Some more of the sayings, some more gold details, a few more sayings. Turned this into a pocket, added a little lace on the edge here. Pretty much left the writing page alone. Just added a little trim to this page. And some gold details here and here. And then, like I said, in the center, I'm pretty much just going to be putting in some of these 1920s sayings and phrases, and maybe some gold details in here or some corner pieces or something. Just kind of depends on, you know, my mood. So I'm going to start moving into the second half. Pretty much basically going to be doing the same thing to the second half that I've done to the first half. I'm going to be adding some lace and trims, little bits of gold detail, and lots of little flapper phrases, just to get these brought into where I want them to be. And then we're going to come back and we're going to work on this here, and then I'll show you the whole. So I finished the second half, and I told you we were going to do something here in the middle. What we're going to do is we're going to be adding a very large pocket in here. So what I'm going to do is use one of these file folders, and I'm just going to stitch it in like I would a normal a signature, and then I will seal it to make the pocket. We're going to get this out again really quick, because this is only going to be a 3-point pamphlet stitch. And needle. Alright, so since I've already popped all the holes, what I'm going to do is go through here. We're just going to go out through the middle, up to the hole at the top, back through, back through the hole in the middle, and up through the hole that we put at the bottom of the file folder. Just going to tighten all this up. And just like we did with the signatures, we're going to bring our thread underneath. Tighten all this down, right over the left, left over the right. And I'm going to do that one more time just because I like it to be nice and secure, so I'm going to go right over left one more time. And then I'm going to go ahead and clip these. Now, these I don't really need to leave any length on because I'm going to close this piece up. I'm basically going to be putting glue on either side of the file folder, and then I'm going to close this up. We can get rid of our foam and our awl at this point. Now, I want to turn these into journaling cards, and in order to do that, I need to put them on a background. And I want to put them on a black background, but I still want you to be able to journal on them. So I'm going to be using some black cardstock as well as some lighter cardstock that you can journal on. And I'm going to go ahead and get that, and we'll get these mounted really quick and get them in the pocket. And then we'll do a quick walkthrough of the completed journal. Quick tools. We're going to be using a cutter. Let me move the book just a little bit. There we go. We're using a cutter. I'm going to be using some black cardstock. This 110-pound Recollections cardstock. It's my preferred black cardstock. I'm going to be using this for the background, and then using this kind of snowy gray silver color that we used on the back of some of our cards inside. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to measure these cards. And they are about 5 1/4, so we're going to go 5 1/2 by 4 1/4, because they're just a hair under 4. So we're going to go 4 1/4, 5 1/2. So the first thing we're going to do is cut this down to 5 1/2. Dang, I'm good. Okay, and then we're going to cut this one at 4 1/4. We're actually going to make 2 pieces that size. That's one. And perfect. Fantastic. So the next thing we're going to do is we're going to round all of the corners here. Now I'm going to watch that I get this, because these EK Success corner rounders are notorious for jagged pieces and weird shapes. So I'm always going to watch this one through the back to make sure that I have it centered correctly. Otherwise you get that weird half circle thing. So I'm just going to snip these off really quick. One caught in there. Yeah. And we're going to be using the same size here. Take this one off. And then I'm going to get rid of all of the shards. Okay. Now, because these are cardstock being mounted to cardstock, glue's okay here, whatever you want to use. Personally, these are cardstock. You could use glue. I'm going to be using my Xyron, just simply because it is a more effective, efficient way of doing it. So I'm just going to put these in here side by side. Turn the handle. And they come out the other end. Just like that. And then I'm just going to cut all of this off. effectively what I've done is created stickers. Now, just to make sure that I've got good adhesion, I'm just going to go over this with a bone folder. Just press it out. And I'm going to peel the top piece off, but I'm going to hold on to it. Okay? And I'll explain that in a minute. Now, with Xyron adhesive, you have a few seconds to actually get this down and be able to lift it back up. So I'm going to put that on there. I'm going to get Alphonse off of here. I'm going to do the same thing here, lining him up. And I've left a 1/4 of an inch all the way around, so I know where this is supposed to go. Now, the reason that you have this is that you can go around the outside and you take off any residual sticky that is left, okay? Because this will actually attract its own adhesive. Now, until I actually press these down, as I said, they are somewhat repositionable. You could pull this up, but once it's on and you have it where you want it, just hit it with your bone folder, press it down nice and firm, and that is going to just really adhere that. Okay? Now I need to put the place in the back where you can actually write. And to do that, I'm going to do the actual size of this, because I want the same border on the other side. So, once again, it's 5.5 inches, 5 1/4 inches. Here we go. 5 1/4 inches long, and about 3 3/4 inches across. So we're going to go 5 1/4 by 3 3/4. So we need to do 5 1/4. 3 3/4. Cut 2 of those. Now basically what we have is a journaling space that we can put on the back of our card. Again, I'm just going to go around and round the corners, making sure that I have them correctly in the corner rounder. Now I can tape these in or glue them in or whatever. Again, I'm just going to run them through the Xyron real quick. Just because it makes it faster. And, well, it would be faster if I knew where my blade was. Then I'm just going to cut these off. Giant stickers. Then with the bone folder, peel off the protective top piece. That's sticky. It has sticky on it, so be careful. Curl it up. Take this piece off. I'm going to turn one of these around. Put adhesive there. Okay. That. This one. Okay, we got that on there. Bone folder. Bone folder. Now, by now, this should be dry. I'm going to bring our book back in. I'm just going to take these 2 wanted posters in the middle of my book. And I'm going to go ahead and just put them in. Just like this. So, I'm working on my Gatsby book, and I decided, you know, it's got gangsters in it. It needs to have some bullet holes, right? Well, the problem is I looked online. I don't have any bullet hole stickers. I looked online, couldn't find any bullet hole stickers. I could find images for bullet holes, but I would have to cut them out. And we all know how much I hate fussy cutting. So I decided to make my own. I have a cutting die that looks like a paint splatter. So I cut that out of some silver here. It's just a matte silver, kind of a shimmery bit of paper. So I cut out a whole bunch of those in a couple of different sizes, just using a die. And then I punched out a bunch of circles with my little 1/2-inch punch. Pretty easy, just popped them out. And then if I just put them in here, they looked stupid. I tried tearing them and that didn't work. So what I found was a set of these decorative edge scissors. And this is a semi-decal. It just has a little piece on it here. So all I'm doing is just nipping away at the side. Not quite moving square, but not moving totally round. Kind of going around and just chewing it up and tearing pieces off of it. Because I want it to have that kind of jagged look. Okay. Until I get it down to about the size that I want. And I can pull little pieces off of it and make it the size I want. Now, this is a messy process, but, you know, hey. And then I can just put a little bit of glue and then put it in the middle of my silver paint splatter. We'll let that dry. And what we end up with is this, which looks very similar to a bullet hole. Yay, me!
Do you want this in a bowl?
No, it's fine. Okay, so to finish up on this journal, one of the things I wanted to do is I wanted to put like a cloth over the stitching to make it look a little more finished. So at first I had thought, you know, this would be cute. And then I looked at it and went, no, it wouldn't. So then I looked at a couple of other things. I looked at this lace and I thought, you know, that would be cute. And then I thought, no, it wouldn't. And I even looked at this piece and I thought, you know, now that's just stinking adorable on there. And it is, but I don't want to cut one line off of this. And it's otherwise, it takes up so much of the book. And I really only wanted to go about half this distance. So my next thought was, well, I could use a book cloth. I could just make a book cloth for it. So I did some tests, okay? And let me just work this out here. Okay, so this first piece that I did, this piece here on this end, didn't quite match the gold. And it actually sort of clashed. So I went with a different ink spray over here. And this was just too orangey. So I went with one in the middle. And again, it was just too much. And I was trying to match the gold. And I was like, that's not working for me. So I went with just tea dyed. And the tea dye was just too yellow. So I went with this idea. And I went, no, it's not quite right. I like the pattern because the pattern matches. But this color just isn't quite right. So I thought, let me look and let me see what I've got. So I pulled out the box of ink. So what I ended up with was the Lindy's in the tawny turquoise, which is kind of a brownish color, but it has like this blue and green mica in it. So you can kind of pick it up a little bit on the bottom of the bottle there. So it has a little bit of an iridescence in it. And I said, you know, that one actually works for me. So I took a piece of lace, went outside, put it on a piece of chipboard and sprayed it. And this is what I came up with. And I kind of like the look of it. So it's got a little bit of the blue in it, a little bit of the green in it, and it's got a little bit of the gold in it. And when I put it up against my book, it's actually quite a good contrast. So how do I attach lace to a book? I decided to make it into a book cloth. If you don't know how to do this, please go watch my video on book cloth, okay? This piece. Now for that, I'm using my Aleene's and water and a brush. Get out the old glue brush again. Now, by all means, you could use whatever medium you want to attach this. Fabri-Tac would certainly work, but since this is book cloth and I made it into a book cloth, it's paper on the back. So I'm just going to paint this on kind of liberally. And if you've never made a book cloth, please check out my video on, the simple steps to making a book cloth. It's not that difficult to do. And I did check. Nobody's had any groundbreaking changes since, I did it years ago. So now I'm going to let this sit for just a second and get a little tacky. All right, so I cleaned everything up and I wiped off my cutting board and got rid of it. Now I'm working with just my book and my book cloth. And pretty much what I'm going to do here is I'm just going to put this where I want it, as far out as I want it on the front. Then I'm going to give it a little bit of a tug to kind of soften it over the edge. And then I'm just going to put it on the back. And I've got some movement in it because it's still a little wet. So I can kind of push it into the crease if I want. And I just want to make it as even as possible. And then just, I can hit it with my brayer, kind of push it down a little bit. Make sure that I've got it lined up nice on the back. Press in the back a little bit. And then I'm just going to set this aside and let it dry. Okay? Okay, so I found some small number stamps. And I found some book plate dies that I wanted to use. And so I went ahead and I cut this out. And I cut out the back piece in black. And I cut out the front piece in an off-white. And then I just stamped on this with a gold ink. Added some clear embossing fluid to it, embossing powder. And went ahead and embossed 1920. And we are going to put this... not the center of the book. We're now working with the center of what's left of the book cover, which is going to put this slightly off to the right a little bit. We want to come down about an inch, inch and a half. We're going to go ahead and place this on and just firmly press it into place. And that's it. I really don't want to, add anything else. I want this to just look, like I said, like an old, like somebody's old scrapbook. Now, we do have a band for this one. It's for when it gets larger. And what I would normally do with this is I would normally open this up, since it's not really needed right now, but it may be in the future. Just open it up, and I usually put it inside in the back piece of the book so that it sits along the spine. So it's tucked out of the way. And then we are just going to get this all ready to go out. I have my bow. Cut off my ends. There we go. And then just a beautiful little charm on a pin, like an old hat pin, would look absolutely gorgeous right here in the center. And that's it. That's the Gatsby Journal. All done. Ready to go. Till I see you guys again, do me a favor. Go ahead and subscribe if you have not done so already. If you have, thank you so much. But do me a favor on this one. Like, subscribe, and ring my bell. Till the next time. Bye-bye, guys.